Shalom to elect, giving all praise and glory to Habashim Al Shai, Bashim Hakodash. Giving double lines to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the great millstone who well. Peace and salutation to the elect. Shimmy Al Mappa Mizamappa from the great millstone Plaintables Camp in Philadelphia. Coming with another week lesson. Truth. You have it here, just another exhortation. Okay. In these times. And brothers gotta take heed to, that which is going on in the spirit. Okay, in the spirit, we see a big, major transition of power, and we see the wicked falling. Okay, we're in the midst of the fall of our enemies. Okay, we're seeing the different curses fall upon our enemies as well. Okay, and with that, as we do know, as the scriptures do tell you, false balance. This is in the book of Proverbs chapter 11 and 1. A false balance is abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. Okay? And, you have it, a balance. I'll look that up in the Hebrew real quick. You have it from Azan, Ma Azan Yum. Alright, Zan. Alright, which sounds like ears. Yeah. But it also can mean weight. Okay. To give good heed. Weight. Alright, because when you hear something, basically you weigh it out. Alright, as we would say, as the ear tasteth. For the ear tries word as mouth tasteth meat. Alright, and what the ear does is when you hear it, if you have any understanding, okay, you would go and examine the things. Alright, you examine something, investigate it, you will come to a shapat or a judgment. Mashapat. Alright. And that's with the balance. Okay, so the Lord, He's bringing forth the balance of things. Okay, which is the judgment of things. Okay, which is Yapa. Okay, because we have the truth. Okay, we have the truth, man. It's beautiful to know. Revelation chapter 6 and 5, it says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see, and behold, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Okay? Which we go into the black horse, 1 and 2, the inflation, the hyperinflation, alright, with the economy, alright? And which you can see with this global a global political conflict, especially with how everything with the nations, with the petrodollar, okay, exchange for the U.S. dollars, with the oil, and how with the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, and how this conflict is going to severely impact the global economy. Okay, and we go into the whole with the supply and the demand that's there. It's gonna make it more and more and more straits upon people that depend on these things. Okay, we know this world is moved by commerce and transportation. Okay, which hey, I'm gonna look up commerce. I just look up like think about merchant with merchandise, but we gonna look it up. Commerce, like I think about commercial, right? Yeah, exactly. With market, okay, merchandise. All right, so you have com is with it together, and mercs, All right, go back to mercis, which is merchandise, with merchandise. Okay, to have dealings with. Okay, and as we know, America's all about that. It's all about them goods and that market. And this is America, just one big ass market anyway. Okay, one gigantic market. Okay, for the rest of the nations to sell their goods. And hey, with all of this world wars and such things that's going on, okay, in Western Asia, going into the region, which the Northern Army or the United States military is been driven to. Okay, into that land there and a bit desolate. Going over in that Saudi Arabia. Okay, and that Red Sea and are in chronological with the East Sea and then the hinder part with the River Euphrates and then the Red Sea. And we're gonna see a lot of shortages and things and goods. Okay, with that which is going on. Okay, and that's why it leaves it for these works to happen for us as Israelites. Okay, where we would have to depend on miracles and such. Let me continue on. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. Penny represent a day's wage. Okay. The nearest Nerion. You could go into it. The ancient measures. Okay. And for labor, all right, paid back in the ancient Roman Empire and such. All right, a day's worth of work. Just was a measure of wheat, and then 3 measures of barley for a penny. Man, that's gonna be horrible. Okay, all right. Just think of Venezuela. Okay, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine, which represents the truth. Okay, we are going to be fine in these last days. Okay, it's going to be well for the remnant as the scriptures go into. All right, but we have to believe and we have to have faith and know that Yahweh Hashem Shai is a power of salvation. Okay, powers of salvation have saving power, have ability. Okay, and he enabled us to access it through his name and through obviously using the Hebrew, okay, which his name is in Hebrew, and having belief, okay, in which in the spirit, I just go into this, this brief testimony. As we do know, we wrestle against these different spirits that's going on right now, man. You got all type of spirits in these cars, and on the road, in our way. And we got to make sure we pray and anoint ourselves, daily, as we go out from our houses. Hey, even in your house, there's a lot of different wicked forces that's around. Continue as we go into and burn the quatrarat, the incense, the sweet smoke. Yeah, you could even get bitter, like myrrh. Okay, but get some incense. The real incense, the resins, the woods. Okay, the resins, the woods. Okay, the herbs. That we would use. Okay. In times of old, and bring it for sweet savors to the Lord, and to cleanse and purify, where we be at and such. Okay, because these days are evil, and it's very demonic. Okay, so it's a quick little testimony of the spirit, man. I was driving, at the Shaddai, the plantation, and then I had to go around this car, um, and then it was, as you know, driving in America, it could be very difficult, especially if you even are distracted for a second, and then you have to move around a car, in which I had to move around a car. Okay, I think he was about to make a left and maybe go into like a Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. And I abruptly did it. Yeah, you had another car to the far right, and that car on the far right, you know, um, nothing happened to him, but he basically was probably startled from the action, and was offended. Okay, then I believe he speeding up, which you have it where people bring road comments, which can turn into what they call road rash. Okay, incidents and such, which I'll just look up. Road rash. Okay, which road rash is a specific type. Well, road rage, actually, my fault. Yeah, they call it road rage. All right, aggressive, intentional, and dangerous driving behavior aimed at intimidating others, often stemming from stress or traffic frustration. Right, rude gestures, screaming. You go into all of that. But hey, due to spirit, road rash went down because yes, he had some rash words. Okay, and he was like, "Yo, you almost." He basically said that that I almost hit his car or something of that sort, which I didn't. But you have it from the sudden movement. Okay, and the individual would, if he's not paying attention, he would, he in America, and this guy, and just going to it, the guy is a heathen. All right, he could be his life. I think he is straight heathen. And I believe he's from somewhere in the east. He probably from, either he from one of them Armenia or one of them eastern places and such. And he could even be Roman. I don't know. You got this particular individual had pure hate, and he's like, blow. He could be even Russian. Who knows? But he had pure hate. He had a woman that was in his car with him and such, and she was just like smiling and stuff. But I just was like, yo, bro, we cool. Like I was just like, yo, we cool. Because when he had said it, what it called, I think my coworker was like, what you mean, or something like that, and he was just like, yo, you need to pay attention to the road, and you almost hit me car or something like that. He's a young boy too. And such, and then he he was just trying to basically rebuke in a sense, as we would say, son. And then like I said, we cool. I said, yo, we cool, we got it, all right. As the scripture go into a soft answer turneth away wrath. Okay, and we use that, but you have it at times. Where like hey, as the scripture said, answer not a fool to according to his folly and such. And hey, based on that, hey, we upped it, which is me and the spirit, through the spirit of power Yahweh Shem Al Shai. I had to rebuke this guy and call him Satan, Bahabareth in the Hebrew. I had to, he actually jumped when he was driving, in this lane, and I'm driving in my lane, and he's not even looking at the road, and I end up giving him a rebuke, because he just seemed like he just had this pursuing this harassing spirit, which, as we know, with Satan, Satan goes about, right, seeking whom he may devour. Let me get that real quick. This is 1 Peter chapter 5 and 8, it says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about and seeking whom he may devour." Right, and you have devil going to, and this is in the Greek, going into diablos, which is going to a slander. All right, accusing falsely. A metaphor applied to a man, which we know Esau, Edom. Okay, and you have it, the spiritual demon Satan. That's out. Okay, that go about. And does things here on earth. Okay, you have it in the heavens. You play out here on earth. Okay, as in heaven and earth. Okay, but we're as Yahweh Shai. Hey, he said to wicked Jake, I am from above. Yo, this is words of Yahweh Shai, man, just in the spirit. He said here, and he said unto him, "Ye are from beneath, I am from above. Ye are of this world, I am not of this world." Right. And the elect, as they are in the likeness of Yahweh Shai, they going in the way of Yahweh Shai. We are the first fruits. We are, of course, in that I am form of Yahweh Shai, being ambassadors. We are not of this world. Okay. And that's why, the world can't understand, us. The cosmos of Israel can't understand us. Okay. We don't understand that too. Okay, meaning our own people. Okay, and what more is it for appearing to the rest of this world? Okay, we have a whole nother fashion. Okay, where we would apologize and be meek, but then you have it where, like how the Lord have it, where we would have to make our faces basically hard or hardened. Let me see if I can get that. Make face against their face. Alright. Make face hard against. Alright, this is going to be in the book of Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter. Alright. So this is Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter. Ezekiel 3. Alright, and verse 7. It says, "But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me, for all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads." All right, and when you go into it, face our presence. Okay, punyum. Okay, going into and obviously face our presence. Okay, and you have it against Aimah. All right, which is just against. Okay, and how we do it, we match it spiritually. Okay, these Jake wanna go coming up against us all heavy. We go in the spirit. Okay, and we obviously know in the spirit, when it comes to having self-defense. So, we're not. I'm not telling Jake to not, to be a dummy and get battered, when it's a self-defense situation. But, the Lord gave us a defense. All right, and wisdom is a defense. Okay, but as we do know, the weapons are for warfare, not carnal. All right, so you have it stout. Okay, being from Chazak, which is stout. You go into stout. Stout goes into being strong and thick. All right, and it goes into also being hard, all right, bold, okay. It even got violent, but yeah, we will violently come with you with the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Shai, okay, which is unmatched, okay. As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And you have it that I perceive the guy to be a heathen. He could be a jigger. I don't know. You got the speckled bird, but the dude, he just looked like one of them guys that ride them hybrids. It came to America to get all what he could get out of this place, which is everything. Them Russians, them Eastern Europeans, all of them, they come to America to get all that they can get out of this place, to squeeze it, and they hate you. All right, okay. Many of them, me being that the wicked, because you got some of the 1/3 that's gonna be over here in America, that came over here in America for salvation, but you have a lot of wicked, Israelite foreigners too. 2/3 that's in America that's gonna get destroyed. Okay, crazy, and they get marked too, because I end up you know how, like, if I give y'all the understanding, you have it, our people as heathen at this time, because they are in that Gentile state of mind. They choose to be in that way. Okay, they refuse to follow Yahweh Shem Shah, so there's this uncircumcised. So, that's why you have it where you have that opposition, okay, between us, okay, as you have with the rest of the nations, okay. The dude had pure hate and malice in his face. He actually literally jumped, like how you gonna jump, like, and once he jumped, like, he in his car doing like a jump. You know how people do, they jump, with their face. Like, yeah. I said, where you from? And when I said, where you from, he wouldn't say nothing. All right. And then I had said Shalak Rayum. Shalak Rayum. And it's Shaitan, which is in Hebrew is the sin and evil. Satan, sin, evil, Satan, which basically it's like the sin, evil too, the adversary. All right, Shalat Rayam, just directly to the point. You can say la, or or all to Satan, but he being the enemy of the adversary. And as we do know, as you Israelites should know, the Hebrew has its might, okay, and its power, okay. And as also, let me see, there's a lot of scriptures that I want to say. I don't want to make the lesson long, but the scriptures talk about keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the power, and be more ready to hear than to give a sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Verse 2, 5 and 2, this is the point. Be not rash with thy mouth, okay. Dude was rash with his mouth, just based on a driving incident, okay, because his perception, okay, was that, hey, he may have seen that I had an intention to bring him harm, but you have it when you have what you call defensive driving, or hey, if you do veer off sometimes, you have it where it can be like, dang, oh shoot, he almost got me, but there was no intent, and even if it was, that you have it, the action of, like, you're gonna get hit, you wasn't, so as I had humbly apologized to him, and he wasn't trying to hear it, you're trying to seem cool in front of this chick, you had it where, I put up the aurora, or the curse upon him, so he was marked. All right. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before the power, For the power is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. Okay, so you gotta watch your mouth basically. Okay, because as you know, the scriptures talk about how the tongue, the mouth is as a fire, the tongue is as a fire. Okay, you have to be careful what you say. This is Proverbs chapter 10 and 19. All right. It says, in the multitude of words there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. All right. It's time I would be refraining my lips. All right. The tongue of the just is as choice silver. The heart of the wicked is little worth. Right. His mind is little worth, man, because he's a fool. You know, like you making yourself an opposition just to get marked. Okay. Again, these people come to Babylon the Great. They don't care about you, Jake. Okay. I didn't mean to rap, but yeah, you know. James 3. All right. It says, verse 5. It says, even so the tongue is a little member and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. The tongue, like you said, you just see it. Somebody can say something and easily can escalate to something crazy. Right? It can make it a situation, right? It says, and the tongue is a fire, fire in Hebrew, a world of iniquity. So the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. Okay? Hey, I'm going to go down. No, you could read it. Therewith we bless the power, even the Father, and therewith we curse we men, which are made after the similitude of power. Out of the same mouth proceeded blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be. All right, that's that. But yeah, you just have it, man. The tongue. And as the scripture talk about death and life is in the power of the tongue. Okay, Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Okay, and you're gonna eat, definitely that harvest. Okay, that destruction. Okay, that's why people gotta watch themselves. Because again, like we the little ones, the hopefully elect are the little ones. Okay, we operating, we ain't trying to get in nothing. And you have people, they just be looking for something. You just driving around at leisure and stuff, man. When I said where you from, they don't want to tell you where they from. Because they know, again, really, like I said, your only reason in America is to make money and to be, at pleasure and at ease. To be playing around trying to press women or get all this makeshift status, just to seem like you're something when you really nothing. All right, in a place that's destined to be destroyed, and we're in the last of its rulership. Okay, so these heathen, they mad. Like I said, he jumped like a dog, on a leash, lunging. So I'm like, dang, and he in a car, but yeah, man. So we gotta know that you have protection in your Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And this Hebrew is strong, man. It's strong, man. It's undefeated, man. I be going into the Hebrew and rebuking demons and stuff like that. And the Lord be making that, of course, them demons be subdued. Okay? You have it where you have trials and tribulations and such. And you have it where the Lord will show out. Okay? He be showing out with his language. All right, especially with that force and might, through those that use it, okay, and they use it strategically. I believe that the Lord definitely is dealing with, me, all right, through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shem Shai, through getting the understanding of the language of the Hebrew, the Lashon Kodash properly pronounced, all right, not Yiddish, okay, and where we can access the might of Yahweh Shem Shai, all right, and have things be done, all right, in its proper season, okay. Again, it says here, for the same in prologues of Sirach, for the same words, or for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue, have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. Okay? You go into where you have it. You have the might that's in the Hebrew. All right? That force, the same force, not the same force. So that's why we speak that Hebrew. Okay? So you can access that force. You can say, I rebuke you, Satan. But if you say, Irashaika Hashatan by Hashem Yahweh by Hashem Ashai by Hashem Kakadash, you got that might right there. All right, which is I rebuke thee, Satan, in the name of Yahweh by Hashem Ashai by Hashem Kakadash. All right, and like I said, I've used it in many different instances, and like I say, spirits be bugging out. Okay, spirits start bugging out. You start hear it. It's like they just heard another dimension, and they just be subdued, and they like, man, I better get out of there. I don't know what the hell I done messed with, in the spirit. There's one wicked Jake that, she was she probably was a tear or something like that. I think she a tear or evil black woman. She was I had gave her a rebuke in Hebrew, and she was just confused and perplexed because there's a language she don't understand. You know what I mean? And it was just like that. But she got what she got, okay? And the Lord, like I said, he knows how to reserve the wicked for the day of destruction. So, if any of y'all thinking that y'all getting away that come against the men of the Lord, y'all haven't. I can give y'all even more testimony. I still got to do the other testimony, which I'm gonna do that, about another, Lord done shut something down and got them out the way that came against me and the rest of the Akim, just from going into a store. Lord got rid of the business. All right. But yeah, man. So the Lord be making do. Yeah, that's gonna be my next lesson actually. So the Lord returned us to the language. If you're a Hebrew Israelite and you follow Great Millstone, you'll learn Hebrew. All right. And you'll learn the different Hebrew rebukes. All right. You said you go to my page. I should probably have it on there. Hebrew Rebukes. Right? I have different, rebukes, pardon me, which, came out through, different brothers. Okay? As you can see it right here, Agra Arka Shaitan. All right? Which is I rebuke thee, Satan. All right? That's in the Lashon Kodash. All right? That's one. Let me go to another one. Rashaika, I basically condemn thee. Rashai can be wicked, right? Which you are condemning. If you call somebody wicked, you condemning them. All right. Shaitan, okay, which is the enemy and adversary. Okay. And you can just add by Hashem Yahweh by Hashem Ashai Hashem Kakadash in the name of Yahweh by Hashem Ashai Hashem Kakadash. All right. Got another one. The Dad Mamunya Shaitan. All right. By Hashem Yahweh by Hashem Ashai Hashem Kakadash. All right. I have these, and I'll leave a link to how Ratazah, in the description. All right. It's like any noise you hear, in the backdrop, because you got demons that's above the house or the dwelling, the apartment, and the Lord gonna get rid of them too in His name. All right. But yeah, y'all have to get into these rebukes, and use them in your daily. All right. And pray to y'all by Shem Al Shai. You know, as you say them too, but pray to Yahweh by Shem Al Shai. You know, activate. These things, of course, too. Which we do believe. So, serpents tread. Let's see if I can get that. This is Luke chapter 10 and 19. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions. All right, the wicked. All right, these sly ones. They try to be, of course, very cunning against us. All right, or of our people, the wicked, the heathen, even these damn these two, the heathen, the wicked, 2/3, Israelites. All right, and over all power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. All right, why? Because we're in the stead of Yahweh by Shem Al Shai, and that can't be taken. The Lord required you of that number. All right, so you can't get plucked out. Their force ain't shite compared to the force of Yahweh by Shem Al Shai. All right, we come in a spiritual force. All right, let me look up the word tread. All right, tread. Go back to the Hebrew word, which Slaki, this is the Greek actually. Pateo, which goes into to trample or crush with feet. All right, which basically is to subdue, man. You trampling, which you conquer. All right, to advance by setting the foot on. You set the foot on something, hey, you done brought that down. Okay, that's what we have. Okay, like you take an ember or something that's on fire, and you trample over it and remove the oxygen down. That's not a fire. All right, we have power to take the fire from these people. Okay, that's it. We can quench it. You got instances where prophets, have taken power, from, these even Israelites that have even went into idolatry. You just go back and read your kings and all that. All right, in different parts in the scriptures. So, we gotta believe in these things and put full use of it. All right, don't be telling me you don't know no Hebrew. All right, especially with all of these resources out. You got brothers that are just sitting there. You got the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, which we learn from, that have put up whole pages, dedicated to the Hebrew. Elder brothers, and over DC, elder brother Monagon and such. Monagon, so many lessons, man. Come on. And other brothers that excel at that, talent. Brothers in Texas, all part of, Chicago, New York, all over Great Millstone. Okay? Yeah. You have it, Isaiah 19:18. In that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the land of Canaan, which is the Hebrew. Okay? Going to what they call Phoenician Hebrew, you see the Lashwan Kodash. All right? And swear to Yahweh of hosts, one shall be called the city of destruction, America. All right, which is Egypt. All right, spiritually Sodom and Egypt, the place of our captivity. Okay, and double straits. Hey, the Lord is ultimately going to take this place down due to ICBM missiles and the chariots, the fire. When Yahweh Shai comes back and not going to meet thee as a man, he's going to come as angelic power. All right. Crack the skies as we go into, and he's gonna deliver his elect remnant. All right, city of destruction, man. Look at that, harass, like overthrow. Okay, Ayar. Okay, But yeah. So, what else we got through the spirit? There's so much, man. I just want to keep speaking. But yeah, man, I use I be using a lot of different Hebrew when I have encounters with spirits and things. As I mentioned, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, you know, but then for principalities, you know, so you gotta be using your spiritual tools. All right. Yep. Uh, this is Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. All right? Principalities. We always go into the arche, which go into, and you got different demons, okay? Messengers, okay? Angels, right? You got left hand side angels, all right? Against powers, okay? Against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, all right? Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh Shemel Shai, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand, all right? And again, to stand, you look up that, what's that, histome, going into to be established, okay? To keep his place, all right? And we are priests of Kahanium, all right? We stay put, okay? You want to stay firm. You want to be unmovable, all right? And that's in Yahweh Shem Shah, all right? And you as believers, okay? Because not all are priests and kings. You have also the rest of the elect, women, they be princesses, and you have different princes, Shariam, okay? You have it where they have to stand too, okay? Which stand, you look up in the Hebrew, you have it, it could be, I think, a mod. Let me see. Yeah, see, 1 second, I'm going to look it up real quick. I'm going to look up stand up. You got Yatazab. Yeah, Imad right there. Right, to stand, remain, endure, take one stand. And our stand is for righteousness. All right, to maintain. Okay, Imad. All right, Imad. Okay, that's it. That's what we want to do. We want to be able to stand. Okay, keeping our as you go into our garments clean. All right, the righteousness of Yahweh by Shemel Shai B'Shem Kakudash. But we have to use his name and have to go into that strong tower. All right, to be safe. Okay. Zephaniah. Zephaniah 3 and 9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, the Lashwan Kodash, or Lashwan Tahar, the holy tongue, the pure tongue. Lashwan is tongue, Tahar, all right, going into pure, all right. You got Barar here, but, we go into the Lashwan Kodash, the holy tongue, okay. Or Tahar, the pure tongue, that they may all call upon the name of Yahweh. All right, the elect is going to do that. All right, they're going to praise his holy name, as is written in Sirach, I believe the 17th chapter, to serve him with one consent. All right, so for then I will turn to the people a pure language, so that we have that. I believe we have it, man, because I've used it and stopped demons, stopped people. I put prayers up and they be, of course, answered. All right, so you can't tell me I'm just saying some madness, and we can convert what we say into words. Okay, they have meanings, and that's why you see. And we correct people in Hebrew. Okay, the Hebrew, if it's off, start with the name of Yahweh Shem Shai. If your name is Yahweh Shem Shai, if you don't got the names of the Lord, you're being corrected. All right, and the Lord will correct you, because ultimately you're not supposed to take the Lord's name in vain. Okay, though of course we know His name is dreadful amongst the heathen. All right, so yeah. So when I be coming with that Hebrew, when we be coming with that Hebrew, man, we gotta call, as we say, we come bold to the throne. Let me see if I can spell that. I gotta see if I can even find that. Remember, the righteous is bold as a lion. All right. But I may not be if five brothers can put it up. But yeah, man. And then remember, Proverbs 28:1, it says, "The wicked flee when no man pursueth." All right, I wasn't pursuing bull. Okay, so you also gotta let room for them to get the hell out of there too. In the spirit. All right, Redop. All right, just like they pursue us. I'm not going and pursuing him. I already sent that rebuke out. It's out. Bye. But the righteous are bold as a lion. Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. Proverbs 28:5. Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord Yahweh understand all things. Yeah, right. And I believe too. I prayed. I'll be praying. Psalms. Some of them different psalms about not letting my enemies triumph over me. All right, or me be ashamed. Psalms 25. All right, but you can see it right there. Psalms 25. All right, which it says in English, "Oh my God, I trust in thee. Let me not be ashamed. Let not my enemies triumph over me." Aliyah, all right, which is in the Hebrew. All right, I'm reading the Masoretic text. Ba'aka, and Aliyah is my God. All right, Allah is God. Yah is my. All right, you have Ba'aka is in you. All right, but Tach Thayya. All right, but Tach goes into safety, or if you have safety, you have trust. But Tach Thayya is me trust or I trust. All right. And it says this should be Allah or Saki La'a, which not all is unto or to. This should be a La'a, so it should be as you have this character here, which is in behind the A. It should be a La'a, so the La should be first, then the A should be after it. All right, which should be no or not. Abawash, Abawasha. All right, which is going to. I be ashamed, or not for I to be ashamed, right? And it says la not ya. Again, it says all, but remember it's supposed to be la You have ya ilatazawa, all right, which ilataza, all right, wa going to triumphant. Okay, let triumphant, which is ayub, ya, which is ayub goes into enemies. Ya is my, ayub is enemy, ya is my, and la ya is over me. All right, or over me. All right. So you have it alayab, baka, batakya, la'a, abawasha, la'a, ya, latazawa, ayabya, laya. All right, and that's in the Hebrew. Ba'ashem Yahweh, Ba'ashem Ashai, Ba'ashem Kagadash. You can pray that in the Hebrew. All right, say the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Ashai, Ba'ashem Kagadash. And you could put that up. All right, this is good when you going outside every day. And in this world, like, you don't want this to be going on, like these damn demons trying to win over you. which I'm gonna look up that word right there. Ailataza, triumphant, meaning to rejoice or exalt. Yeah, they trying to be rejoicing, be all happy. No, screw that, man. Let them have a screw face and be mad and sour, because they don't even know what power they coming against. And these heathen, they gonna know what power they coming against. They going against the power of all heaven and earth. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the true power, not no idol of Allah and all this bullshit. Okay? Because these damn dudes be running around here with these other religions and stuff and thinking it's over Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It's not. Why y'all can't look at the camp? Why y'all can't look at the camp sign? Most of the heathen came and look at the camp sign. You got Jake. A lot of Jake. They so wicked. They can't even be in the holiness of the Mazabak of the camp. As Mazabak going to place of sacrifice being the altar. Okay, in which we are putting our bodies on as a living sacrifice when we go out in highways and hedges to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right, it's our reasonable service. Yeah, these people were willing to walk in the street and get ran over and stuff before they can even pass on the sidewalk past us. All right, because they know what it is. It's holy. All right, it's a holy assembly. All right, and it's not for the heathen. Okay, and for the unholy and these wicked Jake. All right, so yeah, you gonna see what these nations gonna see Yahweh Bashem Yahushua power through us. Okay, so we gotta keep on believing, keep on pressing forward. Okay, in these times. All right, this is the book of 2 Timothy 2 and 5. 2 Timothy 2 and 5 says, and if a man also strive for the masteries, which we are, all right, we try to master this truth, all right. We sometimes with the execution, we get experience, right? Which we all the time we get experience, but you might have it where you be like, damn man, I could have did this. Well, that's striving for the masteries, all right. The victor in a contest, all right. That's striving for the masteries, to being a victor. Stefan going into being a crown. All right, Stefano. All right.
Strong's G 4737. Stefano.
Yeah.
Stefano.
Okay, honorary wreath. All right, a crown basically. All right, and if a man also strive for masteries, yet he not crowned except he strive lawfully. All right, strive lawfully. I'm big on this. Okay, you have to be agreeable to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right, with the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability. All right, your ways need to be pleasable to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Just do that by seeking His face. All right, praying for mercy. All right, repenting. Okay, being a brother. All right, being a good sister. Being considerate. Okay, consider. Asaki, the husbandman that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruits. Okay, you got to be part of the planting. You establishing this stuff. Okay, you got to be part of this work. All right, the hard-working farmer must be first to partake of the crops. Yeah, before you could get the harvest, you got to do the work of the laborer. Okay, simple as that. To get the fruit, that's what's going to be produced from what you planted, which is you planted a seed. All right. So, we seeing, like I say, that fruit of that hard work, that labor, praying, fasting, to get better at Hebrew, get better at being a brother or sister in this truth. You had to start from a particular point, knowing the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and then the Lord just kept watering it. Okay, until the Lord gonna come and then take that fruit, that peaceable fruit. All right. Right. Hebrews 12:11. Now no chastening of the present seemeth to be joyous. Sometimes we be going and catching the hell. It don't seem joyous, man. We like, damn, man, this is bull crap. You know, I always going into like, certain things. We got these different demons we have to battle against. All right, it don't seem joyous, but grievous. You be like, damn, man, for real. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Right, and this is all a exercise. Okay, a gymnazo, a gumnazo. All right, this is a vigorous training exercise that's going on, which the Lord taking us through a testing. All right, but we already got the victory. Okay, it say, let not no man take thy crown. Okay, it says this is again now back to second Timothy 2:6. The husband that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruits. Consider what I say, and the Lord give thee understanding in all things. All right, and you have to put this stuff to a thought. All right, think about it, take heed, ponder upon these things, give consideration. All right, remember that Yahushua Hamashiach of the seed of David was raised from the dead according to my gospel. All right, wherein I suffer trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds, but the word of power is not bound. Therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Hamashiach Yahushua with eternal glory. All right, so yeah, so it says it is a faithful saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us. All right, and you have to reign with Yahushua. You gonna reign, have rule with this power in which he had put in our hand. All right. Shawam ba yadyum nawa, put in our hand. All right, and that's what I just said. Hebrew. If we believe not, yet he abideth faithful, he cannot deny himself. Of these things put them in remembrance, charging them, ordering them before the Lord, that they strive not about words to no profit, but to subverting of the hearers. All right, we trying to get y'all to come to this side. All right, to not be on that dark side. All right, because when you on that dark side, like I say, hey, shun profane and vain babblings. Most people are living after different philosophies that are profane outside the temple. They perverted, they're distorted. All right, and vain. All right, and it came into a whole belief system, and then what it ended up getting them, it got them madness and more filth. All right, look at like I just seen. I ain't want to show y'all it. Look it up on your own. I was just shown by of course my lady, and the what is it? Meek Mill in a cage. As if not seeing him on the side of in a pool, after taking that, him needing a rest period. Him in a cage, it's leaked by Nicki Minaj. Like, that was just horrible. But that stemmed from, this dude getting money and getting it by any means necessary, and he was the means. Yeah, I mean, but anyway, it says, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. Yeah. All right. So, I just wanted to put that out there in the spirit. Y'all gotta, brothers, we gotta, hey, greater work shall we do. 144,000 elect. I add, of course, also, well, we know the elect is going to do great things. The believers, they're going to have access to great things, of course, too, due to the spirit of power, Yahweh Shem Shai. We got to keep and maintain the faith, all right? Through Yahweh Shem Shai, all things are possible. Remember that, okay? That's how, you have it. Peter walked on water with Yahweh Shai. We ain't supposed to be doubting. We supposed to be there going through the storm with Yahweh Shai guiding us as our lamp. Okay? Keep at it. All right? And do not, I repeat, do not abandon the faith. As the scriptures say, strive unto the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. Shalom to the elect.